Alrighty, today we're gonna finish up the controller support. Actually, gonna see if I can change the name of my stream. Cool. So, the one thing we have left is the AI level dialog. It doesn't process input, and what that is is right here. I'll show you in a sec. When you go to play versus the computer, there's this dialog right here, and you can't get around it with the gamepad or the mouse and keyboard. Actually, there is another card for keyboard support, which I might just jump to right after this video because I think I fixed a lot of it while doing the gamepad support because it's pretty closely related. I mute my stream and my headset. Alright, so my video froze already. Impressive. Alright, so the level dialog is right here. There's some chance that if I do process input, it'll just happen. I could have sworn that was what we called it, but it's not. So, I have to find out where we're doing process inputs. Okay. So, view doesn't contain. So process inputs is called base. It's called for anything that's any dialogue that has controls, I guess.
Not enough energy.
We might have to extend a control.
Not enough energy.
See the rules dialog is this rules view. Rules view is a vertical tap control dialog. Don't have to override anything. So
Not enough energy.
So we could have this dialog just be a collection of items, similar to the way we did the vertical tab control view. But that manages its own hovers and things. Which maybe we should have done from the get-go with the AI level dialog. But in the meantime, make the collection of buttons into an items control that can be used. So for now, what we're going to do is just process the input on the dialog if we can. There's no values. Cycle.
Not enough energy.
Okay. We'll run it, and I don't suspect that process input's going to be called to start with. But this one will be. So we can find out what's doing the calling and then figure out which interface it is I have to implement to get it to be called. So first things first, we're going to check out the dialog and make sure. Okay, so process inputs is not being called there, but here's it. So here it's being called. This is in the rules dialog. And it's being called the dialog view. So if the view is a control, then it'll call it. So that's simple enough. So we have to make it the AI level dialog, implement iControl. And it just has to have this. Let's see how much of the interface I need to implement really.
Not enough energy.
I'll click off to close of this dialog. Wait. We already have that. It's not related to iControl. So the gamer who's going to be allowed to use this control is the one who opened the dialog.
Not enough energy. Not enough energy.
whole region down somewhere at the bottom to keep it organized. Gamepad and keyboard. And there is a lot of functionality to make this a control. For now, I might not implement all that. So what this, all this control stuff about hovering and selecting is doing is it's making it so that each of the little numbers in the dialog would be treated
Not
as
enough energy.
an item in the control. So, I mean, eventually if we do this, then the whole thing will be written so that each button is a control, and then a lot of this normal functionality will work. It'll be cleaner once it does it that way. And we'll have things like hovering. Let's see how close we get to compilation now. Because again, we're not really making it a very complex control. Desktop audio is turned down. Yeah. Not making it a very complex control. Just want to be able to get in here and read some controller input. Leave. I'm surprised. Enter, leave, focus, blur. Scroll. So again, these all go in here in the implementation of my control interface. Okay, it built, which is kind of shocking. and we'll see how close we get. I mean, the main thing we're looking for right now is just to get that breakpoint hit. Oh, I'm in release mode, that's why the breakpoint's not getting hit. But it is playing the sound, so this sound right here, this menu click sound when we move the controller, so we're actually getting there, getting to this spot in the code, which is what we want. We want to be able to process input. If it's not, and open by equals LGI. So we only want to process the input if the dialog was only dialog opener. This. Then we want to let him get around there. Wow, this dialog was really straightforward before, like not very function or feature rich. It was just a bunch of buttons. And you click them once and it changes the entry. Where's the click handler? Yeah, when it's clicked, you do that. So you probably want to extract that behavior. So it's just the footer only to be visible on the selected level button. That really should be. So we're going to have a private variable for all the buttons, for the collection of all the buttons. So the dialog will always have a reference to these. Come on now. And we'll once it's done, we will refactor to be underscore all buttons, so it's more obvious it's a private variable rather than local. There, and now we only select the actual. So we should actually have a the setter on level is going to be a little more intelligent now. Okay, so this update borders. So now as soon as you change the level, it'll automatically update the borders. So the GUI part's not something you have to worry about anymore. You just change the state and the view will reflect it automatically. So now we're going to want to be able to process the 4 directions of movement from the gamepad. We just wrote this code recently in Squarespace, which is in Board Game Common because board games have spaces. Just keyboard. We're going to be navigating, so if we move, we should play a navigation effect. And so what we have here is the gamepad implementation to keyboard implementation. Also, and this stuff's out of there. Let's see old code. Thumbpad or D-pad, thumbstick or D-pad. And then we know about the layout of this. Is it these num rows and num columns? Yes. Okay. So anytime we go up, it's a little annoying. Right. We press right, we want to wrap around. So we'll do the easy ones first. This dot level plus plus when you press right. This dot level minus minus when you go left. Or oops, left. Well, minimum level's 0, right? Okay. Okay. So we want to make sure you can go left, but you can't go down to like level 0 because that's not even an option. Similarly, we can't just do plus plus for going up. We have to say the minimum of max level and this level plus 1. Okay, so if this works out, we should at least be able to get left and right working on this run. Code, okay. Fantastic. All right. Now we call this before all buttons might exist, so don't run the loop until the buttons exist. is going up by 2, which is a little surprising. I wonder. Yeah, that's a little surprising that it would go up by 2. I wonder if process inputs is getting called twice, or yeah, that's definitely getting called twice. It's a little surprising. So one place is in update internal on screen. Screen is calling the dialogues control, process input, right? And then it happens again. Handle keyboard navigation. Whew. Man. Wonder if all the rules dialog was actually lacking. Was unallowed. Gamer. Yeah, it already. I mean, part of it, I think, is that we didn't return that it was handled yet. I had this commented out. Handled false. Handled equals true. So that, we won't get called a million times. So that might do it for us. Process inputs is supposed to say that it handled the input and therefore quit sending it to other handlers. Nope, it's not cutting it. Makes me kind of wonder if like why we're not getting that in here. Oh, we are now. Press down, it goes down twice. Pretty sure this wasn't happening yesterday. So, when you think you have a regression, go and see what you changed. Maybe I did something epically stupid. I have not changed very much, huh? So let's go back to the places where those are called. This first one, if inputs enabled, and I never realized this. Let's do it twice, but so this was already working, and the issue is that in the game it wasn't. Okay, so now that works correctly as 1, but do we regress here? Yeah, this doesn't get processed. The simple way might be to actually listen to the handle there and say if it wasn't handled, handle it. This is the kind of thing you're supposed to be doing when calling process inputs, but I didn't yesterday or whenever it was. I added this call to process inputs. So this might get us back to where we need to be. Because the rules dialog is very different when it's called from the main menu and wrapped in a screen by itself. Okay, that's good behavior. We get here. It's going one by one, as you'd hope. And the rules dialog is working as well. Okay, so that's good. I'll bet our release version of the rules right now is probably jumping 2 here. Okay, so that's working really well. So if we press up or down, it's going to be a little bit different logic. And I mean, if this stuff gets too complicated with something we're doing every single level change, we'll just record whether or not we've changed a level, and then if we have, do all this. Which is if this dot level is greater than num calls. So it's greater than the number of columns. Because it has to be first row to go. Further down than the first row to go up. So if you press up, you can't go up if you're already in the top row. So if there's 10 columns, and the level is equal to one of them, okay, then this dot level minus equals. And we'll want to do the opposite logic for down. This dot level plus num calls is less than max level. What's that equal to, I think? Yeah. And there we go. What if you use plus equals on a property like that? You should be smart enough to understand. What do we get? Yep. could play our annoying forbidden sound if you press it, but I think that's more annoying than it's worth. Actually, this is being highlighted right. Do we really want it to go to OK already? Yeah, I guess. So 28. Yeah. Why does it not start at the current level? That's bad. It's bad. Okay. Update. I can make this update borders. So we might have pretty good gamepad support once this is released, because I think this was the last thing for us. Man, that's disappointing. Yeah, that should be highlighting the borders on level 26. Oh. I don't know why. Oh, let's actually see if the level is getting loaded correctly into the dialog. Creation. Level 1. That's surprising. Because the game settings screen must be getting that level correctly because it's showing it. So having a, a hive question here on this case where it, if you're playing as white, and the AI choked him out to not be able to place any new pieces. But if you're not familiar with Hive, that won't make any sense to you. But you should check out Hive. It's a really cool game. So I'm trying to figure out where it's getting its difficulty. Text is get display name of this game setting. Oh. Wow, it's getting the value from the dialogue. At least, you know, when it's closed. Game settings, taking it from there. Text is getting it from the game settings. I don't know why that's sticking so well. Network session. Okay, setting AI difficulty key. There it is. So the dialogue, the AI level dialogue is just reading the wrong thing. It shouldn't have its own key. Alright, so that's probably been a bug too. It wasn't more noticeable until now, because I actually use the AI a lot for testing and stuff. Boosh. Okay, so it starts out at level 25 now. It starts out at level 9. Every time we open it, it's going back to when you open it, it should start where it says in the GUI there. Where the heck are the game settings? I was getting a key on the key value store that didn't exist originally. Now, it's getting it. Yes. Okay, so that's better. That's cool. Okay, so that's behaving pretty well. While we're in here, it would be great to add keyboard support. Because, you know, we're already in here. Okay, so because this is a menu, we're going to allow all inputs. In the game, there's some concern. You have to pay attention to whether the person's allowed to use the gamepad or whatever, because in local multiplayer, there can be one player using the mouse and keyboard and one using the gamepad, and you don't want them both to have access to each other, so you only set one active while it's their turn. So it could be that easy to add the keyboard support, because we've already wired it up with our control system, so it knows to send the input to this dialog. And we'll see how that goes. In fact, I'm not going to use the gamepad to test this. I'm going to use keyboard. Yep, works great. Alrighty, that's phenomenal. So we should be done with controller support. So setting back to its original estimate 2, but it took 3, and it's not released. One final thing to do is commit all those changes. That's messy. We don't need this persistent key value store setting. In the comment. Okay. All right. So here, so what we did is we implemented gamepad and keyboard input for the AI level dialog, fixed an issue that caused double input for some dialogues. Gee, good. Okay, that's really good. So that that wraps up our gamepad support fixes that we've been doing over the last couple days here. So people with gamepads should be able to play Simply Chess very easily again. And maybe I should push everything out just to make sure that gets out right away. Check how we're doing on our Burndown as well. We need to burn like 4 more hours today. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have today and 3 more days to get rid of 24 hours. And at the rate we're burning, that's actually possible. All this blue, the reason the blue keeps going up is because we keep adding stuff. We haven't in a couple days because things are finally starting to stabilize. But yeah, so we should be able to eat through this whole. We have this list of bugs on the left. This is what we fixed on the right here in the last week and a half since launch. These are fixed and not released, but I'm about to release them. If this runs correctly. Okay, so that works. I'll give it a push. Hope that we didn't regress on FNA changes at all. Okay, so that built. Refresh here. Check build sizes, make sure nothing is missing. Looks right. Okay. 4 comments since we started the stream like 50 minutes ago. It's pretty standard. It's calming down a little bit, unfortunately. All right. These are all released on Windows now. Okay, so I got a bunch of this stuff mostly released, and I'll probably go grab some lunch, and then I'll come back to knock through this list of more bugs and improvements. And big one here, it's coming up, is these 3 cards related to the stats and the ratings not updating reliably. I have a feeling it's going to be a total rat's nest, but at some point we'll just hunker down for a few hours and hopefully get to the bottom of it. Alrighty, it's glad to have the controller support done. We actually have keyboard support card here, which is probably pretty good. It's probably pretty close because while we were fixing the gamepad stuff, we fixed a lot of keyboard stuff. So yeah, we definitely need a task to audit that. Figure out how those are going. Yeah, this will. Hey, 4 hours is not. Hopefully not accurate anymore. We can probably do that a lot quicker because it might even already be supported. So that's going to be our last accessibility card for the near term. I might stream that later today, and then yeah, we'll have our accessibility working pretty well. There's one other thing I would want to change at some point, and that is that ideally you can have the games work for gamepad, keyboard, or mouse in any combination. For accessibility, some people a lot of them play with voice, and if you play with voice, the mouse works really well with our game. For some reason, we're not reading the keyboard buttons from like Windows speech recognition. I have no idea why. I looked into that a little bit, but I couldn't get to the bottom of it. But it does process mouse clicks. So one way that works, if you're not familiar, is it basically puts this grid up. I wonder if I can pop it up right now and show Windows speech recognition. So this is really cool. I'll pop our game. And I wonder if the speech recognition is going to work while the webcam is on. Show grid. No, I can't turn it on. The microphone's stolen. Oh, show grid. Grid. Show grid. Mouse grid. There we go. Oops. Escape. Cancel. Okay. Mouse grid. Oh, so I'm going to try to click on. So I got to tell you before I started. So I'm going to try to show you how someone would click on our game with their voice. Mouse grid. mouse grid, 3, 7, 5, 8, click. Boosh. Mouse grid, 5, 5, 8, click. So now you can see someone with speech recognition is now in our game, and most of our game works pretty well this way. The one exception that I really want to polish up at some point is that right now there's no way to get to the menu, the game menu that you press in game. So right now you press escape, or on the gamepad you press start, and that's the one thing in our whole game, and in fact across all 4 of our games, that's the only thing that you can't get to with just your mouse. And as you saw, it can be pretty important to support just the mouse for people who are playing with their voice. We have a quadriplegic player that has mentioned to us that they had a really good experience with Cat. I mean, that's how I learned about this speech recognition and that people play in this way. As an actual player told me that Cat worked surprisingly well. I thought that quadriplegic players would be using arrow keys more likely, because there's these straws that you can blow into that move like arrow keys, but it turns out that speech recognition is actually a really great interface for them. So we want to make that easier for them, any players who need that, and all it'll take is to add a menu button. I just got to go through and find a good image, cram it in a corner, and I really hope to get that in there pretty soon into all of our games. Because that's the one glaring omission now that gamepad support and keyboard support are probably pretty solid. So I'll see you probably later today when I work on running through and making sure the keyboard support is actually solid, as I think it is, and polishing up anything that isn't. And talk to you later today. Thank you.